I continue to work with the stability module of MaxSurf. I open my Microsoft modular file named SuperRealFinal with MST extension by dragging it onto MaxSurf stability. This windows will appear when you first open the stability files. Whether you are importing from modular to your stability file for the first time, or imagine you have already opened a stability file that's already saved. No matter how you open it, this window will appear when opening the stability file. Before I start explaining the contents of the window, there is something important I want to say. MaxSurf modular and MaxSurf stability files work together. So if you just rename a saved stability file or move it to the different location, the stability file will no longer work. Because the stability file takes the model from the modular module. For example, if you want to send a MaxSurf stability file to a friend, you should send it together with the MaxSurf modular. If you only send the stability file, the person you sent the file will not be able to use stability file in any way. Because the surfaces are taken from modular module. Let's think like this. In this folder, under the modular file, we have stability file named SuperRealFinal. We have recorded them before. Both are already existing files. As soon as I change someone's name, the stability file will no longer work. The modules files work, but the stability file will stop working. If you want the stability file to work, you have to rename the modular file and stability file the same. Let's imagine that there is a still stability file called SuperRealFinal saved here before. Both are already saved files. If we enter the MaxSurf modular file, and then if you make a change to any surface or add or delete surfaces, if you save and then exit your modular file and open the stability file, the surfaces will look the same in the stability file as the modular file. Now I want to come to this window, read existing data and section option. If you have opened a previously saved stability file, the option here becomes active. It allows you to open the file in previously saved state. When you tick the option below, there will be differences in the analysis results compared to the old one, because the sections are repositioned. This can change certain results. But if you check this box, you can open your stability file as it was before, that is as you save it last. But of course, surfaces are independent of this option, because the surfaces will always text from MaxSurf modular. So after opening your stability file, you save and exit. Next, you made a change to the modular file. After making changes, you check this option and open the stability file. When you open it, you can see that the same change has been made in the stability file. But although the surfaces change, the sections don't. You must use the Calculate New Sections option so that calculations can be made using new surfaces. But you have to select Read Existing Data and Section option in order to open the stability file directly as it's saved. If you select Calculate New Sections at the bottom, it will recreate the inside sections. When you enter the stability module, I will show you the sections. All calculations are made on these sections. If you increase the number of these sections, change the sensitivity, or recalculate, there will be slightly difference from the previous calculation. I choose Calculate New Sections because we will open our file inside the stability module for the first time. Let's get back to the boxes below. Include Skin Thickness option. In MaxSurf modular, I showed the process of assigning materials and giving thickness to surfaces. If you check Include Skin Thickness, according to the material and thickness you have added in MaxSurf modular, you can obtain data such as weight or center of gravity of your surfaces in the Load Keys window in MaxSurf Stability. I wasn't assigned materials to the surface of the MIGA yet, and I didn't add thickness. The reason why I didn't do this, I do the weight calculations in the Rhino course. I didn't add surface thickness in MaxSurf modeler as I thought I could detect weights more accurately inside Rhino. But if you add materials and thickness to your surface in MaxSurf modeler, in the load keys window of MaxSurf stability, you can obtain information such as weight or center of gravity of your surfaces. I don't tick this box because there is no thickness. Under it is the option Use Trimmed Surface. If you remember in MaxSurf modeler, we did the trimming of the surfaces. It doesn't matter where you trim. If there is any trim surface in your model, you should select Use Trim Surface option. We have trimmed surfaces in our file. Even if we trim in Rhino instead of MaxSurf, it doesn't matter. Finally, this trimming was done somehow. If this trimming has been done in any way, you should tick the box here. If you don't mark it, it will transfer to trimless state, that is the trimless state of the surface, into the stability model. If you want the trim version, you should tick the box here. There are options under the station setting at the bottom. The MaxSurf stability model takes helps from sections to calculate. You can think of them like frames. They play a role in all calculations of the boat. I can even say that all calculations are made on these sections. As we increase the number of these sections, the sensitivity of our analysis will increase. So, if you choose height instead of low, for example 1800 tons of displacement will be calculated in one and 1810 tons in the other. But there will definitely be a change. As the number of sections increases, the sensitivity increases. As I said, when we enter the program soon, I will show you these sections in 3 dimensions. 50 sections are created in low number. 100 sections are created in medium number. 200 sections are created in high number. In highest, 500 sections are created. If you choose Use Model Design Grid Position Station option above, it will create sections using location of the sections you add in the Design Grid window of the modular module of MaxSurf. In the Design Grid window, we have assigned our frames, that is our sections. First I want to open my file like this by selecting Use Design Grid Position Station option. If I think it will meet the need, I will calculate using these sections. But if I don't think it will meet sufficient sensitivity, and I conclude that I need to work more sensitively, I should increase the number of sections. Firstly, I choose Use Model Design Grid Station Position. You define the quality of your surfaces in the Surface Precision section on the right. This part determines the surface quality of the tanks or compartments you create. So a tank may not display properly when medium is selected. But when you select high or highest, the tank surface will now be displayed properly. But remember this, calculations are not made on surfaces, calculations for tanks are made on sections. I'll talk about it again when we already create the tanks. If you click Select Surface at the bottom, you can select the surfaces you want to import. I want to import all surfaces, so they are all selected. If there is a surface that you don't want to import, you are not imported by unchecking it. I open the stability file by selecting Cancel and OK options. When I open it, it asks me a question. Do you want to assign extra sections to F-pick and 4-pick points? Since the hull form changes very quickly in the 4 and F parts, adding extra sections to these parts increases the sensitivity of the analysis. Increasing the number of sections at those points will not be our detriment. That is why I tick yes. After opening, I will continue showing you these sections. I'm coming to the perspective view. Then I open the sections option. The white colored lines are our sections. I want to zoom in a little bit. The sections we added in the design grid window are shown here. If we had chosen values such as 50, 200, or 500, there would be as many sections as we chose here. Currently, it was only created the sections that we added in the design grid section. I want to turn off merging line for now. The number of these slices determines the precision of your analysis. As I said, if the number of sections increases, the analysis sensitivity will also increase. The smaller the number of sections, the less accurate the analysis will be. I think the sections here will be enough for precision. There are enough sections. I can use these sections for all calculations. But if you had only design sections in modular, if you added 10, 12, 20 sections to your bot and these are not locations of bot's actual frames, if the sections are added only to show the hull form of the bot or to basic hydrostatic calculations, it will not be very accurate to calculate with those sections. In fact, no large margin of error. After the analysis, you will get approximate values. For example, if there were 10 sections and we calculated on these sections, we would reach all results with a certain margin of error. But the more realistic results we can achieve, the better for us. That's why, when we're starting to work, determine the sections here with precision. See you in the next lesson.